Before we talk about which crops can be grown here in Santa Clarita during the cool season, we need to talk about the soil preparation. What do we actually need to do to prepare the soil so that it will produce for us? Now, before we get into a discussion of what we need to do, we need to think for a few moments about what the soil does for us. What is the purpose of the soil? Now, most of us know that soil is not essential for growing plants, and that's obvious because we have systems like hydroponic growing, where soil is grown solely in solutions and supported by other means other than the soil. But for our purposes, the soil serves two main purposes. The first is a support system for the roots of the plant. It gives the roots something to hang on to. And the second, and probably most important, the soil serves as a medium for the uptake of oxygen, of water and nutrients. There are different types of soil, and you have to treat each type differently. But here in the community gardens at Santa Clarita, our soil is rather on the heavy side. It has a lot of clay particles, which makes it subject to compaction, and we need to do something on a regular basis to ensure that that does not prevent our plant growth. The soil heaviness or lightness depends really on the size of the particles in the soil. Sandy soil is extremely light. Then there is the middle concept, because the sand particles are particularly large. Then there is the middle part of the soil, which is a loam, which is a mixture of sand and clay in more or less equal proportions. And finally you come to the clay soil, which is made up of very, very small particles, and that's basically what we have here. So to combat the problems of compaction, we dig the soil. That basically means turning it over twice a year. Once before the cool season crops in mid-August, early September, and once before the summer crops in mid-February, early March. There are a number of methods of digging the soil, varying from double digging to no digging, and you can go on the internet and see a number of recommendations for raising plants without ever digging the soil. The reason why they do this is that they don't want to disturb the microorganisms and the insects that are in the soil, because they each live at their own particular depth. The problem is this no dig system only works with relatively light soils. The no dig system won't work here in Santa Clarita or here at the community gardens, simply because of the high clay level that we have. Double digging is a system whereby you dig 2 spade depths down. Now, clearly, the more digging, the more you disturb the soil, the more aeration you get into the soil. And I'll come a little bit further on as to why it's really important to have good aeration in the soil. So as a compromise, before we get to the compromise, the problem is that when you disturb the soil, you really throw out of balance the microorganisms, and it takes them a while again to settle into the level that they work at. So as a compromise, I am recommending 1 spade depth of soil.